I'm scared. I was struggling with pretty bad social anxiety. Hello, welcome back. So today's video we're going to go through the last 6 months of the year because it is July, which is mental. Need to reflect a little bit, figure out what I'm doing, what I've done, all this kind of stuff, because time flies. Honestly, like, you know, most of my days, 90% of my days are pretty much the same, especially that Monday to Friday. Going to work, working in a corporate job, you know, the days do honestly fly by. I lose track of time a lot. You can easily feel like not much has happened, even though loads has, and you know, you've made progress because progress is linear. So I think it's really important to kind of go back and reflect and see everything as like a bigger picture. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be looking back on the last 6 months, what I've achieved, all my thoughts, blah, 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 and then also like how I want to take myself forward for the rest of the year. So that is the plan for today. Whenever January rolls around, like end of December, start of January, like everyone is on their like good habit stuff. Like everything on YouTube was like how to have like a great 2023, how to build good habits, how to do this, how to do that, how to have the best year ever, slay, yes. So we're all on that like hype train and we're like, yes, this year's gonna be the best year ever, can't wait, woo. I even went out and bought like a Notion template in January and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be super organized, this is gonna be my goals, these like my micro goals on how to make like hit my main goals, etc, etc. And then obviously that momentum soon disintegrates into nothingness, and I haven't actually I haven't checked back on that Notion template, if I'm honest. But it's not to say that I haven't made progress, you know? Like, just because it's not on a Notion template doesn't mean I haven't made progress. So since January, a few things have happened. I started a new job in January, which I discussed in my January reflections video. So I've been there for like 4 months now, which is crazy because it feels like I've been there for eternity. That was like a whole new role, and actually our manager left within the first week, so it's been pretty intense. But it's been a great learning experience so far, I have to say. You know, a new role and then also taking on so many more responsibilities, like more responsibilities than I've ever had before. And yes, okay, it is a lot of work and I am tired, but at the same time, you know, it's great experience for me, so I'm very grateful. Another thing that has happened this year was I got Invisalign. So as you can tell, with my sexy rubber bands, I'm part of the Invisalign crew. I'm an Invisalign girly now, which I've had, I think I've had my Invisalign now for like 7 weeks. I also started a new hobby this year, which has been super fun. I was always one of these people, they were like, oh my god, like what are your hobbies? Or like, you know, when you go to like an interview and they're like, so do you have any hobbies? We've all been asked that question sometimes and I used to hate it because I was like, I don't know what to tell you what my hobbies are. I don't really have any. I was like, I don't know, going to the gym, I guess, like working out. I finally actually have a hobby and I can officially say that because I've been doing it for about 4 months, which is pottery. And I go every week and it's so much fun and it's 2 hours a week and it's like that time to just switch off and be creative. Because for me, when it comes to exercise, I can switch off to a certain degree, but I'm never like fully switched off. Like if my mind's on something, it's on something. Like if I'm going for a run, like I can still think, you know, like my mind doesn't really have much else to think about other than like whatever's going on. I also as well kickstarted my fitness journey again this year. I feel like last year I was slacking, but that was because I had an injury, because I went too hard at CrossFit. I went to go try it last year and I really don't know how people just like throw the weights around. Like I tried it and ended up getting injured, so that won't be happening again. I can't really say I was the biggest fan. I can see how some people might like it, but it wasn't for me. Got injured last year, it was super like I was off, just not feeling myself. So this year it's really nice because although my routine isn't perfect right now, because I am tired, because my work is a lot more than it used to be, I have to say that, you know, I'm making time for running, and which actually takes me on to the next one in a second. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting stronger in the gym again, and yeah, it's just a very, very good feeling. So that's happened in the last 6 months too, which also leads me on to, so with the running thing, I used to be awful at running, like awful, like I couldn't run to save my life because I would get the worst shin splints ever. And I always kind of thought like, you know, I wouldn't mind doing a half marathon, it might be quite cool to do, but I never thought I was going to be in that position to do so. So I actually took the plunge a few weeks ago and signed up for a half marathon that's taking place in October. A little bit scared. I'll be starting my half marathon training in about a month. I think it was like the 8th of August I'll start my like proper training, because it'll be like 12 weeks. So yes, I'm a little bit nervous for that, because whenever I've gone out for a run, it's been like, I'm just gonna run for fun, you know, that rhymed, run for fun. But never have I ever run and like had like goals to hit, targets to hit, so it's gonna be a challenge, but I'm excited to try it. And also I'm kind of like nervous for like the race day as well, because I don't really know what to expect, so I feel like I'm gonna be extremely overwhelmed, just because I feel like there's gonna be so many people, I'm not doing it with anyone. Yeah, I don't know, I'm scared, but it was something that I wanted to do, and I had it on actually my to-do list for this year. That was actually on my Notion template when I downloaded it at the start of the year. I was like, I want to sign up for a half marathon, and I've done it, so that's actually something I should be very happy with. And also so last year as well, I have to say that I was struggling with pretty bad social anxiety, which is something I've never really had a problem with before. I've always been quite outgoing, quite extroverted. I don't know, I've always been quite an outgoing person, especially in like my adult life. But last year, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because I was injured and I was going to the gym, and then I feel like I put on some weight. I also came off the pills and my skin was like horrendous. My hair was like thinning because of all the hormone changes and everything, and I just like didn't feel like me. So yeah, last year was quite a struggle with my mental health, I have to say. But fast forward from last year to this year, I feel so much better in myself. I still have moments like the other day, oh my god, I had the worst anxiety on, I think it was like Tuesday, and I went for a run, which normally would like exercise is meant to help anxiety, but like no, it was awful. So I stayed in the house that day and worked from home. But yeah, it's definitely improving, and I'm pushing myself to like make plans with friends and get out there and do stuff, because the more you stay at home, the worse it gets, I feel like, because that's what I was doing last year. I was like, I'm just gonna stay at home. I don't know, I'm just making like a conscious effort now. So yeah, that's also what's been happening this year. I'm kicking anxiety's ass, kind of, one bit at a time. So that's kind of like the year so far. I mean, there's so many other bits in between, I guess, but like they're the main things. And it might not seem like a lot to some people, but to me it's quite a lot. Like, I'm actually pretty proud, especially with like how fast time goes. So that's kind of like my review of the year, of like what I've achieved so far. But when it comes to reflecting on the year, some things that I have to reflect on is routine. I could have definitely been better with routine so far. You know, I might be good for like a couple of days, but then I just slip back into bad habits again, especially with sleeping. That's like one of my main priorities right now, is actually just being able to like get a good night's sleep. I don't know if it's because I live in Spain that like the culture is just so late here. Like, everyone doesn't eat dinner until like 10 p.m. or like the kids are up until like 1 a.m. Like, the culture is so late. Although I've lived here for a few years, it's not my culture. Like, I used to come home and have dinner by 6:30, 7, and then that was me done for the evening, where now it's like I'm not really hungry and I don't really eat until like 9, 10 p.m, which kind of throws me off, because that's the time I should be sleeping if I'm wanting to get up at 6. So that's something I really need to work on, and reflecting back on the last 6 months, that is definitely an area of improvement. Another thing is, and I'm working on it at the minute, is decluttering, because I live in quite a small apartment. I don't really have any storage, and I feel like when you live in a small apartment and you have a lot of stuff and you don't really have much storage, it can get messy quite fast, which then in turn makes me stressed and overwhelmed, because I'm like, oh, my apartment's a mess, what do I do? Then I feel too overwhelmed, then I can't clean it, etc. It's like this spiral. So I just really want to declutter, get rid of like a bunch of clothes, which I've actually started doing. And although it's going to be difficult to get rid of stuff, especially when I don't know, I have like such sentimental value when it comes to clothes, like even stuff that doesn't fit me anymore, I'm like, but what if I lose the weight, or I bought it in a certain place, or it reminds me of stuff, but I just need to get rid of it, because truth of the matter is I've not worn it in years, and it's just literally sitting there building dust. One thing that, you know, I've really worked on and realized over the last 6 months is just realizing that I don't have to do everything now. And I don't know if this is like my ADHD, because I was talking about this with my boyfriend's mum the other day because at pottery, I remember when I first started, I was like, oh my god, I have to make all these amazing things, and I was like, I want to make this, and this, and I was like rushing everything, and it was like, why am I rushing everything when it's like this whole experience is meant to be like nice and calming and zen, where I'm like, duh, 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 you know, I'm like, I'm gonna make this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna make a bowl, and then I'm gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. But that's kind of like me with a lot of areas of my life. To take you into my mind, I wanted to get a new sofa because my sofa, I was just like, don't like it. It was like mustard yellow. It was disgusting. It was a rental apartment sofa. And I wanted to get a new one. So the landlord didn't want it anymore. It was a little bit damaged, so he was like, just throw it out if you want. But I was like, you know what? I could upholster this sofa. And I went online and I was like Googling where to buy foam from, what type of foam to get, how to upholster. I was like watching YouTube videos on how to upholster a sofa. I was looking at fabrics. I was looking at everything that you needed, and I was getting ready to do that. And I was like, because I was like, oh my god, I can be creative, I can do that. I was like, no, I just don't have the time. And I was like, also, that's a hard ass task. Why? And I was like getting into that mindset of like, I could do this. Oh my god, I could upholster like all my furniture in my apartment, and it's gonna be great. And then a few weeks ago I was thinking, oh, I really want to start learning how to sew. I could crochet. I can't do everything at once, you know. I even went like, okay, I went to a dance class a few weeks ago, and that was really fun, and I was going to start doing the dance lessons regularly, but then I was like, I don't have time. Let's just focus on one hobby, one thing at a time, you know, and little by little. And I actually got this new poster to kind of remind myself, yeah, just kind of taking things slowly and not feeling like life is a race and that I have to do everything now, because I really don't. And although it might feel like that because I'm running out of time, I don't want to half-ass everything that I do. When it comes to like pottery, I definitely think I'm going to do that for another few months, and then I might stop doing pottery but then pick up something else instead. But yeah, just having, I think, a few things to focus on, because although I want to do so many things, I also have to factor in time to cook, to see my friends, to see family, to spend time with my boyfriend, to go to the gym and keep fit, to just like do nothing and switch off. Like, you need to have all this time, and you know, there is just not enough time in the day, or the week, or the month. And I've heard this before in other videos, like about basically living your life in seasons. And I think that is so true. I'm currently in my pottery season. I'm also in my running season and all this kind of stuff. And this might not be forever. Why is it flashing? Okay, let's discuss my plans for the rest of the year as well, because this is like my check-in with myself, you know, even if no one watches this. So, goals for the rest of the year, of course, is running my half marathon, because, you know, even though I've signed up, it would be so easy for me to be like, nah, I'm not gonna bother. But, you know, I need to follow through with that. I also heard like a while back where, and I actually believe this, I mean, there's studies on it and stuff. I mean, I don't really know where, so don't quote me on it, but I know that it is pretty official. When you tell someone about something, let's take for example, I go to my friend, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna sign up for a half marathon, I'm gonna do it, and she's like, oh my god, that's amazing, I'm gonna smash it, and she gives me all these encouraging words. It's like my brain already receives that dopamine spike of like, I have achieved something, even just by signing up to the marathon, that, you know, you're more likely to not do it, because you're like, well, I already got that feel-good moment of, you know, what it would like. That's basically what they would say even if you did the half marathon. They're like, oh my god, well done. Like, it's the same kind of thing, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna be hard running a half marathon. Yeah. I also, speaking of that, I'm not gonna tell you too much into it, but I've had this idea of like a side hustle thing for the past 2 years. I wanted to do this, and I've put it off, and I've put it off, and I've put it off, because it just feels like too much of a task, and it just overwhelms me. I get overwhelmed extremely easily, I would say. I feel like because I'm quite a highly emotional person, I can get really overwhelmed pretty easily, especially when there seems like there's a lot going on. It's like I just switch off, and that's like but then anxiety just hits, and I just feel very like, I don't know, like super like all the walls are closing in on me. So I've had this idea for like 2 years, and it really annoys me because I've wanted to do it for so long, and I know it would probably do pretty well, and it's like, even if it doesn't, at least then I can say that I tried, and it, you know, it's not always going to be in my head like, what if I did this, you know, oh, I wonder if that would have worked out if I tried, etc. And I know I'm not the only one who's like this with a lot of stuff. I know this kind of can be compared to so many different situations, to whether you want to go to the gym and you've tried so many times and you failed, or you want to, I don't know, for instance, quit alcohol or quit smoking, and you've tried so many times and you just disappoint yourself. And that's kind of like me. I've like tried so many times, but one of the things that I realized recently was like, okay, I've tried so many times, but every time I've tried, it's like, it's changed, the ideas change a little bit and it's gotten better. So it's kind of like molded. So I feel like every time you try and you fail, you try and you fail, you try and you fail, it's not like you're failing, it's just you're getting closer to that goal of success, if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm getting there slowly but surely, but I definitely need to spend more time and take myself more seriously when it comes to this side hustle. I actually also hate using that word, side hustle. It gives me the ick. It really does. Because I feel like there's just like so much talk about like, you have to have a side hustle, blah, which also stresses me out whenever I go on social media and everyone's like, this is how you can be making 5k in a month. If you're not making 10k in a month, then you're failing at life. And it's like everyone's making so much money and I'm like, are you though? Because I look around and most people are struggling for money and I just feel like it's so easy to get like sucked into that world of like, I'm not doing enough, okay? Which I am very guilty of feeling like I'm not doing enough, which is when I need to switch off my social medias and be like, stop. Because I feel like I'm always comparing myself to people. Well, not always, but whenever I catch myself comparing myself to other people and other people's lives, I know it's a dangerous game. So I'm just like, I'm going to come off social media for a little bit. Not like delete the apps, but like just close the app, basically, and just be like, breathe. And I think that's another thing as well, that with this side, well, with this project that I want to work on, it is that feeling of like, well, so many other people have done it, you know, it's like, it's not an original idea, but you know, these days, what is an original idea? Like, I feel like there isn't one. Or if there is one, like there's like a very, very small chance that someone else has thought of that as well, you know. It's like we all are very similarly tuned. It doesn't mean that you can't do something just because someone else has already done it or thought of it or whatever. Like, doesn't mean you can't do it better or slightly improve it. And that's something I keep telling myself, because I will start doing competitor research and go like, oh, why am I going to bother? Like, etc. Stop. That is a thing of the past. We are on the road to success. Even if I fail and it doesn't work, it was still a success because I was able to try. Yeah, that also brings me on to another thing that I actually want to spend more time on. I also want to try and spend more time to learning Spanish because I've been here for a long time and I'm still not fluent. And again, I'm very impatient, so I'll give you a bit of a background. I grew up here for a few years when I was younger. I went to an international English school, so didn't really learn Spanish. I never really spoke Spanish, apart from when I was in Spanish class. I picked up a bit, but then I went back to England, and then I forgot a lot of my Spanish. I came back. I didn't have any Spanish friends. All my friends have been international. My job is English. Again, don't really speak it that much. It has improved over the years, but I've learned, like, in these random chunks, and I feel like I'm missing so many of the jigsaw pieces to put it all together, but it's all so jumbled. So it's like when I go to like learn the basics of Spanish, I'm like, I know so much of this, it's so easy, but there might be like this tiny little like puzzle piece I'm missing, which then will affect me later when I try and speak. So it's this like whole headache of trying to figure out like what I need to learn. But recently I've stripped back my learning with my new teacher, and you know, I've gone straight back to A1 and we're going through stuff and I'm like, this is kind of easy. I know what this is. I need to make sure that I'm not missing any gaps because I really, really, really want to learn Spanish because my boyfriend's family, well, his dad is Spanish, my boyfriend is Spanish, his mother tongue is Spanish, so it would be really nice to speak to him in his mother tongue, and also speak to his family and, you know, grow that relationship with his father because, you know, me and his mum get on really, really well. She is native English, so we have a really good relationship, but when it comes to his father, it's such a cute relationship because it's like this broken like English and Spanish kind of conversation where it's like, I don't know, I feel like anyone who gets it gets it, but I just really want to be able to speak better and also create friendships here. And I don't know, like, it sounds so silly, but like when I go to the supermarket, like I want to have a little bit of a natter, like I want to have a little bit of a joke, because that was another thing last year when I was like, I feel like I can't speak to anyone, so I wasn't really making an effort with friends, so I was like not really speaking to anyone. Like maybe the few times, the odd time I would have a meeting in my old company, I would speak to someone, but the cameras would be off. Oh, it was just like a sad time, and I was going to the supermarket and I couldn't even make conversation. Like if you're in England, if I'm in a country with my mother tongue, like you best believe I'm going to be making some banterous comments We'd be bouncing off each other as long as the other person is also banterous. But yeah, like, I'm just like that kind of person, and I just can't do that here, and it's just very frustrating. So yeah, I just need to dedicate more time, because again, with learning a language or learning anything, I can be impatient, but it is little by little. It's like just doing 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day! Anna, do 10 minutes a day, okay? That's all you freaking need. And it will make the difference in the long run, because why are you sitting down trying to learn everything in one sitting? Like, just little by little. We're doing little things at a time. You're doing your pottery, you need to have a better routine. You need to like do like 5 to 10 minutes of Spanish a day. Doesn't need to be much, just a little bit, little by little, and do a bit of your side hustle every day as well. Every other day, not every day. Can't do that. Another thing is that I want to sleep more, because like I said, I haven't had that routine, and I'm not sleeping enough, which then, oh, there's people in the hallway shouting. So sleeping more, I really need to sleep more, because it really has a knock-on effect on like your training and all that kind of stuff, because I might wake up and I might be like, oh, I'm too tired, snooze, and then I don't go for my run, or I don't go to the gym, and then I know when I get home from work, I'm like too tired. I'm too tired. Like, I don't want to go to the gym when it's packed. Like here in the morning, so dead. Oh my god, you go to the gym at 7 a.m. here and it is dead. There's like 4 people and it's delicious. If you go in the evening, disgusting. There's nothing free. I know none of us like working out at peak times here. So yeah, it just puts me off, which means my routine is not up to scratch for the rest of the week in terms of exercise. So sleep is at the top. And yeah, continuing to declutter as well is something else that I need to do. Get that stuff to the charity shop, needs to be done. I don't know if anyone else is like me. I don't know if this is my ADHD traits or it's just like a general procrastination trait. I need to do so. If I have something that I need to do it now, because if I put that on my to-do list, like I'll forget, I'll put it off. Like for example, I need to go to the gynecologist for a checkup. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna book an appointment. But I know that you're gonna be on hold, you're gonna be waiting. It's not like sometimes a quick and easy hello, goodbye, booked like conversation. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now. Don't want to deal with it. No. So I just kept putting it off. And then I remembered yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, I need to call the gynecologist to book an appointment. And I was like, I'll do it later. And I was like, no, I'll do it now. So yeah, I called them and did it in that moment, and I got my appointment sorted. But yeah, that's it with my decluttering. I started decluttering. I have a few bags which need to go to the charity shop, but then I put that shit off. And I don't take it to the charity shop, which then still means that I'm still decluttered because it's still waiting there in the cupboard to be taken. And I guess other than that is just growing my career. Ugh, gross. I really want to make a lot of progress on this project, because for me, I don't want to work in my 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. It's not me. The industry is not me. The job is fine, it pays the bills, but like I was driving a couple of weeks ago and I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this for the rest of my life. My god, I'm just exhausted. I'm working to make someone else richer, and I just don't like that. It is for some people, like, yes, don't get me wrong, I love the security that it has, and like knowing that the same day, every month, I'm going to be getting my paycheck, and it is nice, but I cannot do it forever. I really can't at all. Working on this project is an experiment for me. It's a way for me to see if, this would work, or if I should be trying something else. But I would never know unless I try. So yeah. Another thing that I really want to concentrate for the rest of the year as well is just to mention, I want to carry on making YouTube videos and being creative and grow this channel. I just badmouth myself by saying that sounds very lame, but no, it doesn't. Put that into my head. It's not lame at all. I love creating content. I used to create content so much when I was younger, and it did make me feel so good. So I just really want to get back into that, and I want to learn my editing style and my vibe, and just experiment and meet new people, and introduce myself to the internet of the world. The internet of the world? What was that? The world of the internet. And I feel like by creating these videos, it also makes me fall in love with myself more. Even looking at myself when I'm editing the videos, it gets me used to like seeing myself in this light, because I still know whenever I look at videos of myself, I'm like, ew, gross, that's what I look like, gross, sick. I feel like the more that I do this kind of stuff, then the less that happens. So yeah, I definitely want to continue creating videos and content on here, and yeah, just continue everything else that I'm doing in terms of like eating and being healthy and meal prepping, and yeah, that's like my reflection of the year so far. I mean, it's been 6 months, but god damn, it's gone fast. This is like my homework for you guys, okay? Write down 3 things that you've achieved this year so far in the last 6 months, and 3 things that you want to achieve for the rest of the year. Break those down into micro goals if you need to, but I think it's really good to just sit, reflect, and see what you want to achieve and what you have achieved in reflection to kind of maybe what you were thinking of achieving at the end of last year. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bon dia! Adios, mi amigos.